guys, and welcome to JazzedTutorials. This video you are probably curious about is our 10,000th subscriber video. I promised something pretty awesome and amazing for 10,000 subscribers, and I'm going to give you something really awesome and amazing at the same time. So, as you will notice on my lovely dock here, I now have two applications open, and they are both Adobe applications. What is this new icon, you ask? Well, this lovely icon is Adobe Illustrator CS5. Now, I know Adobe has a newer model of Illustrator, but I wanted to give CS5 a good go because I have CS5 for Photoshop, so I figured CS5 for Illustrator would be a nice way to go. So I'm going to be giving you guys a cool tutorial today using Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop CS5 at the same time. Well, we're going to be using one first, then the other, but same thing. So, what are we doing, you ask? We're going to be making a cool 3D text effect. Now, you're probably thinking, well, can't I do this in Photoshop? No, because there are some 3D effects that you can't do in Photoshop, but you can in Illustrator, because Illustrator is actually a 3D model version of Photoshop, so it's kind of like Photoshop, but for 3D effects only, sort of, kind of. You get my drift? Well, anyway, if you don't know what Adobe Illustrator is, you can look it up on Wikipedia. It's a whole thing. It's really awesome. It's basically like a 3D model Photoshop. So it's cool and stuff. And you can actually export stuff from Illustrator into Photoshop files. So that makes it really easy and handy to work with both at the same time. So I will show you step by step how we're going to make this cool 3D effect. I've made a portion here. As you'll notice here, this is what we're going to be getting at. I will explain to you step by step how to get to this point that you'll see here in my preview. Now, I made a black background using the rectangle tool, which is found over here below your type tool in Adobe Illustrator. Now, this is a different setup than Photoshop, as you notice clearly. So you will be a little confused a bit, but stick with me. If you don't have Adobe Illustrator, that's okay. You could just sit through this and let me spiel about it to other people that have Illustrator. If you don't have Illustrator, I'm very sorry, but this tutorial cannot be done in Photoshop. It's an Illustrator thing. There may be ways of doing it in Photoshop, but I've only learned the Illustrator way, so we're going to go with it this way. So you're going to grab your type tool, and you're going to take any font you like. It has to be a bold font, just so you know, because bold fonts work really well with this tutorial. I just chose the Hobo text effect, the Hobo font that's in my computer, but you can use any font you want. And you need to have your text set at, I'm using 100 point, but you could certainly use 72 point, whatever. And the canvas size I opened was 750 by 750, just so you're aware. And then I made the black background using a rectangle tool and changing the color to black. Okay. Now that we're over with that, let's go and type our text. So I'm going to do J, and you want to make sure that your text is white. And the reason why I made a black background is so you can see the white text, because if I didn't make the black rectangle, you wouldn't be able to see the white text on a white canvas. So, yeah. Okay, so once you've done so, you're going to select your text by using the selection tool, which is this one right here. Just select it so it's got that little thing there. And then you're going to go to Effects up here and select 3D and then Extrude and Bevel. Click that, and you're going to change your angle to the first one we're doing. I'm going to just use a generic settings here, 310 and -3. But you could also play around with the bevel and extrude to what you like, but I just happen to think this is cool. And you want to make sure preview is selected so you can see what you're doing and how it looks, because every letter you make will be different, as you clearly see on my left side here. So this is the first letter, and once you like how it looks, and you can also alter this, if you don't want to have it with my settings, you don't have to. You can go make it look where it's down and whatnot. So I like the way it was, so we're going to just go with that. Whatever, I'll leave it there. So once you've done your first letter, you will then do each additional letter individually on additional layers. So that's the J, and then I would do the A, and I have to change that to white, because if I don't, then it won't look as awesome. So then select the letter, and we'll go to Effects, 3D, Extrude Bevel, and then you play around with the settings to see if you want to move it. And just give it a different look, like move it to a different place in each letter. So each letter should be differently placed, as you clearly can see on my side. We'll do that. And then once you have your letter 3D-ified like you see, you can then freely move your letter anywhere you want. I'm going to leave mine right there. And then just additionally, go ahead and make as many letters as you need for whatever you're typing for your text. And then eventually you'll make it to this point where you have all of your text placed and planted where you like it. And once you've reached that point, once your text is where you like it, you can then go ahead and you can delete your, if you're making a black background like I did, you can just delete that because we don't really need that. And then once you've done so, go to File, and you're going to click over here where it says Export, and you want to make sure that when you say Format, you want to select Photoshop PSD. So save this as a PSD file to whatever you like. I'm just going to type text. Mine's already saved in there, so I don't need to resave it, but you will. So click Export, and it will automatically be saved to wherever you saved it to, your documents, whatever. And then you can clearly X out of this because we're kind of done in Illustrator for now. We may need to come back, so don't close it out just yet. But for now, we're good. So we're going to close out of we're going to minimize Adobe Illustrator for now. Now open up Photoshop if it's not already opened. Mine's already opened. And we're going to make a background for our lovely text. So as you notice, I've already imported my text here, and I've made a cool little background. To make this background, I made a new layer below my text. Once you open your text in Photoshop, it's going to show up in like a folder. They grouped it, so it's easy for you guys to figure it out. So when you open your PSD file from Adobe Illustrator, it'll all be grouped into one folder called Layer 1. And then below Layer 1, the group layer, I made a Layer 2, and this has got a cool background gradient overlay. I used Radial. I reversed it, and I chose a blue hue, I chose this blue hue here, but you can use any light or dark blue hue you like. And I had to alter the opacity of this layer because it was way too bright, so I knocked it down to 50%, and obviously as you notice it's black in the opposite side, so it's black and blue. Okay, and everything's going to stay the same. Click OK, and you should see something like what I have here. Okay, now we're going to color each of the facings of the letters. So now you need to go grab your magic wand tool. And for this you might need to zoom in a bit just so you can see each letter because it's quite a small document. Okay, we're going to start with the J, and you have to do this individually because if you don't, it will just be ridiculous. So obviously I'm sure you knew that. So grab your magic wand tool, which is right here below your lasso tool. And then select the facing of which letter you want to choose. And you might want to get inside the Layer 1. And if you happen to know which thumbnail is the facing of your particular letter, you could actually do a control click on that thumbnail. But because I don't know which one is which, I have to go use the magic wand tool. Once you select your magic wand tool, you want to make sure the tolerance is set at 2 point. Because if not, it's going to select your whole entire document. So, go ahead and select your lovely letter. Alright, why is it doing this? Apparently mine is being a douche. It's not letting me select just that letter. I realized something. Sample all your layers needs to be selected as well. I found out that worked after a brief pause right there. So, select your first letter, and this is what you need to see. It has to be around just the facing, not the back of it, just the facing. Okay? And you need to make a new layer, by the way. Otherwise, it won't really do anything. So make a new layer above everything. And you'll make a new layer for each letter you have, by the way. So you can name the layer if you want, or you don't have to. And then you're going to grab your gradient tool. And I'm selecting a lovely blue to blue hue. I'll show you what those colors are in just a moment. This is the first one. Right, and this is the background one. Okay, click OK, and you should find that in your gradient section over here. And you can swipe it down or up, doesn't matter, however you want. If you want the blue at the top, go ahead. If you want the blue at the bottom, that's fine too. So hold down your shift key to make it so it's a straight, perfect one. And woohoo! Oh hey! That looks pretty cool! And then if you were to go upwards, this is what it would look like. Alright, I like it that way actually better, so there we go. Woohoo! And you're going to continue to do that for each additional letter, but every letter is going to have a different color. So I used a dark blue and a light blue, so for my next one, I'll use like a bright pink and a light pink. Or dark pink, rather, if that makes any sense. So something like this. So then I'm going to go over here to my A, go back to your magic wand tool, and select the A, back to the gradient, and swipe downwards. And we have that. Alright, continue doing that for all of your letters, and then we'll move on. Now we're going to go and change the depths of each letter. Now, you're going to have to go into your grouping now. You might be a little confused here because if you go into your groups, as you'll notice, it just says group. It doesn't tell you what letter's which. But if you typed it, then you'll know which is which. I mean, I know what I put. Like the first one at the bottom is always the J, and that's the A, Z, Z, and then ED. Okay, so the first group I know is my J. So we're going to add some effects to that. So we're going to double click this. You're going to add an inner shadow, color dodge with a white color, opacity 50%, 120-degree angle, use global lights checked, 8 for your distance, 0 for your choke, and 18 for your PX. Alright, we're going to also add a satin, and you're going to use a gray color of any such. Doesn't matter what gray, as long as it's not too light, not too dark. Multiplies your blend mode, obviously. Opacity is set at 60, angle is 50 degrees, distance is 20, size is 60, and your contour is this one right here. So select that one there. And make sure invert's selected. And now for your gradient overlay, depending upon the color you chose for your letter, will depend on the color of your gradient. Because mine's a blue hue, a blue color gradient on my original facing, I'm going to use a gradient blue color, a blue to blue, a bright blue to a kind of darkish bright blue. So any color will work for you. Make sure it's around the same hue as your color. So like for the next one on my A, it's going to have to be a purplish pink color to a purplish pink bright color, if you get my drift. Alright, screen will be your blend mode, opacity is 100%, and linear is your style at 90 degrees for your angle, and scale is 100%. Click OK, and let me make these visible for you. And voila! You see now it has cool little depth. So continue doing that for each additional letter. Mindful that you have to change the gradient for each color of your facing on your letter. Otherwise, it will look ridiculous. Alrighty. Mine's all done. This is what mine looks like. Yours should look similar depending on the colors you've chosen. And I think it looks pretty cool. But we're not done yet, guys. We have way more to go. I'm sorry if this video is a bit long. I'm trying to make it as quick as possible, but as awesome as possible, seeing as you guys are awesome enough to stick around with me for all these years. Now, to finalize this tutorial, I'm going to be adding some brushes on top of the facings of each letter. Now, to do so, we have to take a few steps backwards and undo a few things. We're not going to undo them, but we're going to just hide them for a bit. So, go ahead and hide your facing, your colored facings that you just made. So hide that by clicking the eye tool. And then for each letter you're doing, hide the effects for now, because if you don't, it'll look a little weird. But believe me, it'll look cool in the end, I promise. So make a new layer above everything. And you'll need to do this for each additional layer, like I said before, just because it makes things a lot easier than doing it on a layer. And then with your magic wand tool yet again, select each letter's facing individually. Keep it there, and then go to your brushes, and you're going to select some floral brushes, or some, whatever you have on hand, like swirly brushes, whatever's on your Photoshop. If you don't know where to find any cool Photoshop brushes, head on over to brusheasy.com. They have a lot of cool stuff you can find. Just whatever you want, they got it. Believe me, I love that site. So I'll link to their website below. So check them out if you want some cool brushes. Alright, once you have some brushes that you like opened, you have to zoom in a bit. And then on that selected area, just brush on something cool. And you want to make sure white is in your swatch, and that's what you're choosing. Because if you don't use white, it won't show through as good. And you may need to change your brush size, FYI. I'm going to, just because mine looks really weird. And You can just paint on whatever you like, anything you want. Alright, I like that for my D, so we're going to go Command D on that, get rid of that. And now we can make our lovely stuff visible. Right? Oh, I hid that. And voila. Make sure that your painted one for each individual one is on the top, so that way it shows through. So that looks pretty cool, guys. I like that. And you're going to continue doing that for each additional letter, using different various brushes and making everything look pretty cool. Once you've finished all of your lovely letters and layers, this is what you should see. Something pretty awesome like that. This is a 10,000 subscriber video. I really need to make this pretty awesome, so I figured I would show you guys how to make this even more dynamic. So let me show you what I meant by this. So, once you have everything made, all of your layers, all that done, go to the bottom of your layers palette, above your background layer, you're going to make a new layer. With this layer, you're going to then grab a brush, which I will show you the brush you need. It is a fog-like brush, and I will provide these in the link or the description box below for you to download, because you will need these to make your photo look really dynamic and awesome. And you can take any one of these you like. I'm going to use these three here because they're really bright and ominous. And I'm just going to make random places of these. I'm just going to randomly place different ones in different places. You're free to move about and do whatever you like. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to run your life in Photoshop if that's what you're thinking I'm doing. I'm really not. I'm just showing you how to do stuff. Okay, so I like how this looks right now. But again, you can play around with it, and if you want to up and change this whole background thing we're doing, go for it. Alright, next to the last part of this, we're going to go ahead and add another layer. This one needs to be like kind of in front of a couple of your letters. I'm going to choose maybe the E and Z-ish area, like right here. So between my layers 4 and 5, I have a layer 9 now. And I'm going to grab another brush, and this is going to be a lines brush. This will also be in the description box below for you to download, because you will need these, as I said before. And using a white brush, I'm going to now brush on some cool brushes, these brushes here. Now, I kind of think I need to alter my opacity on this one, so I'm going to drop this to 60%. And along doing so, I feel like a soft light blend might be the best way to go. And I'm right. So look at that. That's awesome, right? Well, I think it could use some more. So I'm going to add one more brush to that particular layer just because I'm a cool kid and now it looks kind of weird to me, so I'm going to grab my soft round eraser brush and I'm going to erase parts of this I don't want to have showing, which is basically almost the whole bottom portion. Just because I'm that much of a cool kid. Okay. And a little bit off the top just for coolness. And I happen to like that. I think that looks really awesome. And I hope you guys like that too. That's how you make it look more dynamic and awesome. So, thank you all. Thank all 10,000 of you for watching this. You guys are all amazing. And like I said, you give me subscribers, I give you awesomeness. We are now Team Awesome. Well, we've always been Team Awesome, but I feel like, you know, we're more of a group now. We're more of a team. So if you want to join Team Awesome, hit the subscribe button. If you want to find me elsewhere, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, DeviantArt, sometimes Google+, once in a while. So yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere you are. I don't have Instagram, I'm sorry, but I just, you know, Instagram for JazzedTutorials. I don't know what I would post on Instagram, so I figured why get an Instagram. But I'm everywhere else that you are. So if you need to get in touch with me any way, shape, or form, you know where to find me. You know where I am. So yeah. I really hope we can take this channel other places. I mean, yeah, we have now we have Illustrator. That's cool and all. But I'm hoping that we can take this channel above and beyond where we are now. Every 10,000 people we get to subscribe to our channel, there'll be more awesome things. So once we reach 20,000 people, I will then enhance the channel even more. Or I'll have the opportunity to enhance it even more. So hopefully you guys will stick around and hang out with me, and I'll be able to show you some cool stuff. And maybe I can change the future of Photoshop or Adobe that itself. I know that I have, CS5, and they have a CSC and CS6 now out. And as much as I want to get those programs, it is a lot of money, if you haven't already noticed. They're like $800 programs. So for me to enhance the channel, that's where you come in. So by subscribing, liking, and commenting all my videos, I actually get paid through YouTube. And with that money, I'm able to enhance your productivity and your viewing of this channel. So because I have 10,000 of you, we are able to have Illustrator now. I could afford Illustrator because of you guys, and that's awesome. So thank you all for watching, and I hope we can take this channel places it's never been before. I really want to fly with this channel, and I want to give you guys the best experience possible. And it's because of you guys I can do that. So thank you, thank all 10,000 of you, and I really hope you've enjoyed this channel. And believe me, we have more things to come. There'll be more surprises in the future, more things, more awesome stuff. So stick around, and I promise you an awesome channel of pure awesomeness and nothing more but awesome and amazing things. So thanks, Team Awesome. You're awesome. We're awesome. Let's be awesome together, and let's change the future of Adobe and web graphic design altogether. And hey, maybe in the future you can find me at VidCon. You never know. I might just show up at VidCon one day and be like, hey! And we can maybe have a meetup somewhere. Maybe we can hang out. Maybe we can meet up. You never know. Maybe I'll collab with other cool YouTube stars. You just never know. So, thank you all again from the bottom of my heart. I sincerely appreciate all 10,000 of you. And it's because of you I can live out my lovely YouTube dream. So, thank you. And I'll see you next week.